Go for it.
Okay, so what we sort of did, we just took obviously the sort of actors in this, and we sort of identified from the previous activity the student for the MOOC that might be someone like we call Martin, who's sort of like a program leader in a university, that kind of level. We've taken also another potential user of the MOOC as a learning technologist or someone who is supporting, probably actually supporting Martin in what he does. And also we had a couple of others which have now gone missing in there somewhere, but we certainly had the facilitator for the MOOC and a designer. So we sort of took the sort of those processes. When we started to aggregate this together, we just thought by trying to link them to targets through the bits in the middle, a lot of the stuff we put in the middle is quite instrumental. So it's things like, you know, having a learning development unit or an EDU that supports them, having an office and a computer and all the digital toolkits and all those kind of things. So what we did was we sort of brought the targets over and linked just directly the targets to the actors. So the targets were things like learning about learning design, increasing their skill set, seeing how a MOOC would work, in the very polite terminology of responding to institutional pressure, by having to do this and having to learn about these kind of things. And then we just grouped the sort of those factors together as sort of things like their toolkit and their sort of attitudinal perspective. So we've sort of broken down your design, unfortunately, and smashed it into sort of that way. But that's pretty much what we've, sort of the way we approached it.
And what have you learned from this?
I think that we think there's a lot of commonalities between the people who are going to be engaged, because things like responding to institutional pressures affects not just the users but the designers and the people who are going to be promoting it in the institution. Having the same access to a toolkit, whether it be digital resources, digital technology, whatever, is still going to be fundamental. So I think there's a lot of commonalities for us. I think that's probably a big thing that when we're not dealing with 2 or 3 different groups, we're actually dealing with, you know, a common set of people. And I think it's one of the challenges, I don't know if anyone's ever taught on a PGCHE, it's one of those challenges you have when you're teaching colleagues and peers. That it's, you know, it's a very different type of teaching to teaching students from outside of your institution. So it does, I think, yeah, bring some sort of conflation between motivations and instruments.